I'll bet if someone asked you what your strangest dream was, you'd probably tell them about a scary dream, or a funny dream, or perhaps a night terror. We all have dreams, and supposedly, we all have at least one dream every night. There are dreams that I will never forget. They scared me to death, and I woke up feeling evil, helpless, or terrified. This is one of my dreams. I was 20 and I had my own business. I worked as a computer handyman, and companies and businesses would call me if they ever needed help. Well, I got a call to go help at a local IT firm. They lost a ton of data and needed it to be recovered. I worked all day and well into the night. It was about 2 a.m. and the building had closed. All of a sudden, I hear the door to the office that I was in open, and a flashlight was pointed into my eyes. The man at the origin of the light demanded to know what I was doing there. I realized it was a security guard. Slowly, I pulled out my ID and told him that I was working late, trying to fix some computers. He stayed in the room for a while, and we chatted as I did some maintenance. I asked him if he ever saw anything strange while he was on duty, and he shook his head. Night watchmen have really boring jobs, he joked. Then, a huge white van backed in through the glass window of the room, and 4 men dressed in all black jumped out with masks and guns. I ducked underneath the desk that was next to me and watched as the security guard that I had been conversing with was shot and killed. I looked up and saw a man in a mask. Behind that mask, I saw the bluest eyes that I've ever seen in my life. He looked down at me and struck me with the end of his gun. I blacked out. Weeks later, the theft was all over the news, and I was at my house when the police knocked at the door. They walked into my living room holding a man by the arms. He was handcuffed, and he was looking down at the ground. They told me that they believed that he was the man who shot the security guard and led his crew into the IT firm to steal some sensitive information, and they wanted me to identify the man. He looked up. He seemed so lost, hopeless, almost filled with dread, but I saw his eyes, and I recognized those eyes. "That's him," I said aloud to the officers. Immediately, the man started crying and begging for his life, saying that it wasn't him and pleading that I not send an innocent man to prison. I had no idea what to do. He was so sincere. What if I was wrong? I would send an innocent man away for the rest of his life. I put my hands over my face and breathed a heavy sigh. I needed to think, but when I looked back up, he was gone. Somehow he was able to escape, and he was making his way down the railroad tracks next to my house. Instantly, I was filled with anger. He killed a man, and I was not going to let him escape. I took off after him. I chased him down, and he was still in handcuffs, so he wasn't running very fast. I jumped up and kicked him to the ground. He turned mid-fall and landed on his back, and I grabbed him and pinned him down. He was so frail. He looked like he was about 50. He had gray hair, wrinkles around his forehead and mouth. I looked him in the eye and said, "You're going to rot in prison for the rest of your life." That's when he looked back and said, "I'm going to kill your mother, your father, your brother, and anyone else you care about." The look in his eyes, it was evil. It was sincere. Could he really do it? He would be in prison, but he had his crew. Any one of them could do it if he asked them to. I couldn't take the chance. I saw a machete on his hip. He was dressed in all black as though he had just got caught in the middle of another crime. I grabbed the machete and stabbed him in the chest. I looked him in the eyes as I did it, and I watched the life pour out of this man. I dragged him back to my house and threw him at the cops' feet. I claimed self-defense and went back inside. As soon as I woke up, I felt justified, like I made the right choice. I killed a man in cold blood. He hadn't done anything but threaten my family, and when I woke up, I asked myself, would I really go that far if it came to my family? I thought I was a monster for days, and that dream didn't leave my mind for a long time. It really messed with my head and bothered my conscience. But that's not the worst dream that I've ever had.